Yo, what is good everybody? It's your boy the Strongest Wizard, and today we are back with another One Piece video, and honestly I'm so excited to talk about today's video just because we're going over my OP06 tier list. And the reason why I'm so excited to talk about this is because we don't have to make any more predictions. Y'all, we got results, we got data, we got proof that's in the pudding, and I'm really excited to talk about it because I'm excited to tell you which is the best deck and which is the worst deck. So yeah, let's dive in. Alright, so to start things off, instead of jumping straight into the tier list, I actually want to do something a bit different. I kind of want to take a look at some of the results that we've had for the month of March, all the regionals, and just kind of see where we're kind of feeling. I know this is really huge. I think we had like 4 regionals in this past weekend, which is absolutely insane. Plus, we're going to have another one this upcoming weekend, and all that data is really huge when you're trying to curate a tier list. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look here at the first event that we had. So we're going to be at Eggman's website. I mean, if you don't know this site, if you don't know the man, the myth, the legend already, you definitely need to. The dude is the GOAT, and his website's actually insane. You have a ton of OP06 events so far, and if you want deck list, you know, this is the guy. If you want to look at deck list, actual breakdowns, he has it all. So if we look at the first event that we went to here, we have Core TCG's Santa Clara Regional. And I actually was at this one. Fantastic event. My man Kyle took it home. And here are the top 16 decks that performed at this event. And the top 16 consisted of 7 Gecko Moria, 3 Katakuri, 2 Sakazuki, 1 Reiju, 1 Uta, 1 Enel, and 1 Yamato. We had 506 players. Now this is a good amount of players, and I do know that there was a lot of really good performing players at this event. Something to really think about, that it was really stacked. So first place here, we got my boy Kyle on Gecko Moria, and I think this is absolutely hilarious. First place, Gecko. Second, Gecko. Third, Gecko. Fourth, Gecko. Fifth, Gecko. Sixth, we have Reiju. Seventh, we have Gecko. Eighth, Katakuri. So there's your top 8. I think Gecko being a huge presence on the board. A lot of people were telling me, I don't know if Gecko will be tier 1. I mean, for this first event, I do think that Gecko Moria should definitely be tier 1. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the 401 Games Toronto Regionals here. Obviously, OP06. We had a little bit of less players here, 386 players, 9 rounds of Swiss. Top 16 looked like 4 Katakuri, 4 Sokka, 2 Gecko, 2 Yamato, 2 Enel, and 2 Vin Smoke. Now, first and second had Katakuri. That's actually pretty insane. And third Gecko, fourth Kata, followed by Sokka, Yamato, Sokka, and Enel. Probably the biggest surprising thing here is definitely Enel. The fact that it got in the top 8 section, that's pretty big. Next here we have the OP06 Carta Magica Online Regional. Now, Michael Curry here with winning the whole dang thing with Katakuri as well. Our top 32 leaders, 11 Sokka, 7 Gecko, Katakuri, Yamato, Reiju, Nami, and Zoro, 2 dark horses I feel like in this event. And for the top 8, it looked like the majority was Sakazuki, as you can see here. And yeah, and then actually the last event that we need to talk about here is the No Heroes event, which is actually going to be, go ahead and we're going to see how many players there were. 734 players. That's absolutely crazy. We have Sokka winning, followed by Gecko, Sokka, Reiju, Yamato, Gecko. And yeah, that's pretty good, guys. Honestly, I think it's pretty well diverse. I think we see some common denominators here. So if we take a look once again back in the OP06 tier list here, we have my tier 1. We have my tier 1.5. You know, tier 1, it's like there is no question this deck is winning. Like, if one of these decks wins, it's like, yeah, duh, hello. It's tier 1, baby. Come on. Tier 1.5. If a tier 1.5 deck would win, I'd be quite surprised, honestly. I wouldn't be like shocked, but I'd be like, whoa, that's pretty cool. Wow, that's awesome. I'm really glad to hear that. Tier 2, I'm having really low faith that that deck is going to win. Any deck in tier 2, I'm like, yeah, no shot, bro. Like, no shot. And tier 2.5. That's like just right. It's just like missing something to kind of be more in the conversation, I feel like. And if there's a deck here that's pretty popular, that a lot of people are using or some people are talking about, I'm just like, dude, you're overrating the deck. It needs to be in tier 2.5. And then what are we doing here, tier? That's like, get off the copium, yo. Get off the copium. Look, do you want to have fun or do you want to win? Straight up. If you want to have fun, 2.5, brother. Join the 2.5 list. Join the 2.5 tier. But I'm like, dude, what are you doing here? Do you like to lose or do you like to, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. And then we have essentially the I don't know tier list, the I don't know tier, or the not bad question mark tier. Not too sure exactly where to place this. It has seen some results, but I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm really skeptical on this. And I actually have a dark horse in here as well, which is actually kind of funny. And we're going to start things off here with Whitebeard, which is one of the most menacing characters in this card game. Hated by most, if anything. And the fall from grace has been crazy. It did actually end up winning an event. I think I didn't pull that one up, but I'm going to go ahead and put it in the not bad section. I'm just not too sure where to place this deck. It had some good results. It had like one good result, but I'm just like, how, but the proof is in the pudding. If it won, it won, man. Like, I can't deny their win. Like, they definitely killed it. You know what I'm saying? So, that or unless they have the god tier path, I'm not too sure, honestly, exactly. Like, I think forecast pudding just destroys this deck, right? Like, I would just cry if someone forecast pudding me towards the end game, right? It'd be rough. So next deck we have here. So we have actually one of my favorites, and unfortunately it's Uta. I think Uta is like actually pretty good in this meta right now. I gotta put her in tier 2 though. I think tier 2 decks aren't too bad. I wouldn't be completely thrown off if you're running a tier 2 deck. And I think Uta has the tools to kind of deliver. And we saw it, get like a top 16. I think there was one top 8 finish that we actually saw. And that is super awesome to see. Someone is making it work. I am a believer, but I do think it deserves to be in tier 2. There's just way too many cards right now that are being able to remove your entire board, like Gecko and Saka. But I feel like you do pretty good against Kata, but with all these new tools what Kata has, I mean, I don't know, it's kind of rough. So I'm going to leave it in tier 2. Definitely some potential there. Not saying there isn't. And then we got red, purple, Luffy, man. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to put this deck in tier 2.5. I just feel like we haven't seen enough of this leader to perform. And honestly, there's only like a few people that I know that would be like, you know what? I'm going to make red, purple, Luffy tier 1. I believe in it. It's just Sokka, man. Like, your worst matchups are Sokka and Gecko. And almost like there's so many Sokkas and Geckos that it's just rough now. It's really, really rough. So next card here is I'm actually going to pull from the right-hand side. I'm pulling out Gecko Moria. Guys, I don't even understand people putting this deck as tier 1.5. This is a tier 2 deck, no matter what. I don't even care, y'all. This is a tier 1 deck. This deck is not as good as Sakazuki. It's not as flexible as Sakazuki. But man, this deck is so annoying, y'all. This deck really is so annoying. It's so good, y'all. It has some of the best defensive tools in the game. It has hand manipulation. It has draw. Dude, having your trash as a resource, it's so good. And pretty much being able to remove your opponent's board so consistently, always having that removal in your trash is so good as well. Yeah, this deck is extremely good. Don't let anyone tell you it's not tier 1. This deck is nuts. And even, dude, the Santa Clara, man. I mean, look at this. 8. I mean, in the top 8, how many Geckos were there? Bro, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 in top 8. Are you kidding me? Bruh. Come on, bruh. All right, that's tier 1 so far. Now let's throw one in the mix here. What are we doing here? You know, I'm gonna start throwing in the what are we doing in here, like, I mean, I had to mention some of these because it's like, guys, what are we doing here, guys? My boy Corazon. I gotta put these all straight right now. I'm not doing as many extensive leaders because, you know, it's just not too many leaders in this meta right now. Not many people are playing like Queen. I hate that card though. I hate that leader. If Queen was in this list, definitely be in the what are we doing here? Maybe tier 2.5. But yeah. The guys, if you're running any of these decks, I'm sorry to tell you, but we gotta switch things up, y'all. Unless we're playing with some family members or something like that, or playing with a really cool local scene, that's pretty awesome. Do y'all keep doing that? That's pretty cool. Next deck we have here, something in tier 1.5, and that's actually going to be my girl Reiju. Yeah, I think Reiju's really, really good. Bro, turn 1, Reiju going second is nuts, dude. Like, you can go 2-cost Reiju to draw 3 cards that turn. Drawing 3 cards on turn 1 going second? What? Bro, what? That is so good, dude. Or going second on your turn 2, playing a 7k body. That's like your opponent has to now deal with a 7k body on the board. Like, this deck is insane. The level of consistency that this deck can have is pretty crazy. Once it sees stage, it's like, yeah, I'm playing a different deck. Like, your deck just like leveled up twice, and this deck is insane. And honestly, extremely consistent in the top 8s. Like, we had a couple in the top 8, at least in the top 16 for sure. Like, we had 2 in the top 16 at this event right here in Toronto, at the 401 Games. And then we had, we had 2 in the top 32 here. Super consistent. We had 2 here in the No Heroes regional. So really, really awesome to see the consistency that Reiju is performing at. It's awesome. It's awesome to see a blue and purple leader come into play. I really love to see that. Next deck we have here is we're gonna pretend like this deck is just, come on guys. We know it's tier 1. Guys, we're gonna put this future banned leader in tier 1 right now. All I gotta say, Dashigi, brand new into Dashigi. It's happened to me. I cried. I wept. Yeah, the deck is good, guys. There's certain matchups that like this deck really just folds over, and there's certain matchups that this deck actually loses to, because it does actually have some weaknesses, which we're gonna mention next. But for the most part, you can still win. There's no unwinnable matchup, and that's the beauty of Sakazuki. Sakazuki, there's no certain, I think, matchup that it just folds to. You can mill for you know what I'm saying? You can find your pieces, and if you find your pieces, because you only draw 2 cards a turn. When you find your pieces, you have the answers to answer any situation or any board state, and that power is insane. So tier 1, no matter what. One that I've been giving a lot of trash to is Enel. I think this deck is super mid. And I ran a poll. I'll show the poll right now. I ran a poll asking people, do you think Enel's dead? I don't think it's dead. I just think it's mid. It went from a tier 1 deck to a mid deck. And I know what everyone's going to say. Wizard, we got like so many new things. 0 cost event card. We got like a stage if you wanted to add the stage. There's like so many things that we got, so many tools. Reject. Like, this deck is broken. Like, what? It got tools and it's good. It's still mid because all of the other decks, I think just 8 cost Moria alone with currently what we have. Once we get 10 cost Ace, this deck shoots up to here. But for now, we're going to leave it in the tier 2 section, which is still really good. Yo, don't be mad. The deck is still really good. It's just a little mid. It's just a little mid right now. We're going to be talking about one of the decks that actually has a really good Sokka matchup. This is actually Yamato. The Smooth Brain King, bro. This deck is super smooth brain. It's smooth brain and it's not. Like, I have this funny thing, ongoing joke that I had one comment. They're like, yo, Wizard, you play Yamato? You're hella smooth brain. And it's just like, that literally stuck with me, and it's just like hilarious to talk about now. So this deck, the best thing about this deck is you can build it 20 different ways. Your opponent will literally never expect any of the cards that you play. Even if it's like super standard, like, you know, Sky Island maybe, but there's so many variants and cards that you can run. You can run Punk Gibsons, you can run 9-cost Yamatos. Your opponent will never see it coming, and I absolutely love the flexibility that this deck has. And I think it's the highest tier 1.5 deck that you can run right now. I think this deck is incredibly good, like super good. Unfortunately, it has like pretty much an auto loss matchup against Enel. Fortunately for you, you never play Enels because no one's running Enel right now, which is pretty awesome. All right, so next deck we're going to talk about is actually Red Purple Law. I think this deck is actually pretty good. I just feel like we're missing way too many pieces from EBO1 as well as OP07. Once we get Killer in OP07, this deck jumps like to tier 1 very, very quickly. And a lot of the assets that we get in EBO1 also probably raise it probably to tier 1.5, but unfortunately we're just not there yet. So it just feels a little lackluster, a little copium to run Red Purple Law right now. Now you still have some pretty good matchups, but still, it's definitely not worth it, honestly. Next, we have actually my girl Perona, a deck that I was really excited about, one that I spent a lot of time working on prior to the release of OP06. And after testing and after the results, it's a tier 2 deck. The sole fact that this deck folds to Katakuri is really, really bad. That is extremely bad. Because if you look at the Santa Clara regionals here, we're going to be looking at the leader breakdown here, this pie chart. We had 506 players, an event, like I said, I was at. We had 130 Katakuri players. That is more than Sakazuki. Obviously, it's not more than the two combined, which is Gecko and Saka. But the fact that it's 130 players, bro, that is a lot of Katakuri. And if you're playing Perona, it is almost like a 20-80 matchup. Like, you are losing that matchup. It's really, really hard. You can't establish any bodies, and if you do, they're just going to run you over. You try to stun something with 10-cost Dofi, which you're hoping you see. The only real way you're winning is if you hit double 10-cost Dofi. They start hitting big moms. It's a wrap. It's really rough. It's really, really rough. I think the deck is still good. I think you can still perform well. And we might see an uptick of Perona just because of how many geckos there are, which is something that's really important to mention. Perona does really good against Gecko Moria, which is really, really good. So the fact that counters that. So if you're looking for some anti-meta deck, that is definitely a really good anti-meta deck to play right now. But it's also really good against Yamato. So, but nonetheless, the Kata matchup, bro. The Kata matchup's just like terrible. I would never take Perona to a big event with losing that hard to Katakuri. That's not worth it. Next deck is Katakuri, bro. This is a tier 1 deck. Do I think it's better than Gecko Moria? No, I don't. I don't think so. Even though Katakuri is extremely consistent now with their triggers, because if it's 50 cards in your deck and literally 40 of them are triggers, yo, you're gonna hit 4 triggers. Like, that's bound to happen. Like, people get so surprised, like, oh my god, I got like 4 triggers, my opponent hit 4 triggers. Bro, every card is a trigger, y'all. Like, it's that we in that meta now, where every card is a trigger. That's just how it rolls, brother. It's tough out here, but they still need to get super lucky. The deck runs a lot of like no counter. So if you ever like rush them to game and you just go for it, sometimes you just get there. And half the time you get there. That's really, really big. So I'm going to put this deck below Gecko Moria. Gecko Moria is just way too consistent as well. Finds usually all its pieces. It mills every single turn to find more cards that it needs to bring something back. It's just, yeah. It's really, really good. It's a tier 1, and I think it even gatekeeps some of these decks here, like Perona from Succeeding, which is really, really big. Next deck we have here is we have Nami. I think Nami is really good, but unfortunately, I think it's a tier 2.5. We got the addition of Whitesnake. Whitesnake's really good, but I think you lose to Yamato. Well, you definitely lose to Yamato, and I'm pretty sure you lose to Reiju. They draw a ton, bro. They literally draw a ton. They start playing out bodies for free. It's pretty nasty, and it's really good. And you definitely lose to Yamato. You definitely use the Uta. So next deck we have here is we have Purple Luffy. I think Purple Luffy is a tier 2.5 deck. I don't think you're crazy for trying Luffy. I just think it already had a bad Sakazuki matchup, and now you have Sakazuki plus Gecko Moria. And actually, I don't think the Gecko Moria matchup is that terrible. The fact that they run a lot of Sabos does make me want to cry a little bit. It gives less value to their Kaido, but you know, you do still have Magellan to kind of throw them off their curve, which is really big. So I definitely think it's worth something. It's definitely worth the test out for a little bit here and there. And the last deck, my boy, I had a homie of mine that went to Santa Clara, and he took the round 1 L against Bella Betty. And I was like thrown off because I was like, dude, no one is playing Bella Betty. And he's like, dude, I tested this matchup, and Bella Betty does really good against Sakazuki, and for that reason alone, I am putting Bella Betty in the not bad question mark. Yo, is Bella Betty a sleeper pick? I have no idea. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. And that's my tier list. This is my tier 1, 1.5, tier 2, all that jazz. I got Sokka, I got Gecko, and I got Katakuri, followed by Yamato, really close to that tier 1, just real close. And then we have Reiju, of course. Reiju, I'm a huge Reiju fan. And yeah, let's see how this meta develops. I think Perona has a chance of being tier 1.5. If all we need to find is like an answer, the key to figuring out how to beat Katakuri. Once we do, we're good as gold. But guys, thank you guys so much for checking out this channel as well as this video. I really do appreciate it. And stay tuned because I have a ton of new One Piece content coming out soon. See ya!